Joining me now live is Shadow Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews. Good morning and thank you for joining us. Let's begin with the National Day of Mourning for Queen Elizabeth II. What will you be doing today?
Well, I'll be attending the memorial service at 11 a.m. today. Many Australians, of course, will have watched the Queen's funeral service earlier this week, and many will be watching today's memorial service as well. So I think that this is a very fitting tribute that Australia can make to the life of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah, absolutely. It will certainly be a very important day. Let's turn our attention now to some of the global issues. I want to begin with Russia escalating the war against Ukraine and now threatening the use of nuclear weapons. How concerned should the world be?
I think that every world leader should be taking very seriously what Putin has been saying. It clearly is an escalation in his language and also what his intentions are with mobilising more troops, what he's proposing with reservists. It is concerning. We need to take it seriously. And of course, the coalition government was very quick to support Ukraine. Under the leadership of the Defence Minister, Peter Dutton, we did provide Bushmasters, we provided a range of support to Ukraine. And I think that Australia has made it very clear that we stand with Ukraine. But it is concerning what Putin is doing, and we would be very wise to take the escalation seriously. Of course, what we are also what we are also seeing coming through is scenes on the streets in Russia where there may well be an escalation of concern by the people of Russia, and of course that adds yet another dimension to this particular situation.
It certainly does, and there's no doubt world leaders have been quick to respond overnight. We heard from the US President Joe Biden. How do you think that Australia should respond?
Well, Australia should be taking very seriously what Putin is saying now, particularly his threat about nuclear attacks. We need to take that very seriously. We need to work very closely with our allies, and that includes working very, very closely with the United States in this particular instance. So we need to take very seriously what Putin is saying, be prepared to continue to support Ukraine and make it very clear that we believe that the matter should be resolved diplomatically rather than with the use of force.
All right, we'll be watching that one very closely. Just finally, Karen Andrews, on the front page of today's Australian newspaper, there's a story that more than 600 phones and other electronic devices have been intercepted at Australian airports this year, many containing evidence of crimes such as child abuse, child pornography. What powers do Border Force officers have to search travellers' devices without actually needing a warrant?
Well, they have sufficient powers under the Act to be able to undertake the searches that they have done so far, which means that they can undertake searches of your luggage. They can also now clearly undertake the searches of electronic devices, and they have had those powers for a number of years. I think that they are important powers, and I do support the use of those powers. Protecting our children has to be one of the priorities of a federal government, as well as states and territories as well. We know that there is an increase in child pornography. It's not common these days for pornography to be brought into Australia in hard copy. So a lot more information, a lot more pornography is being brought in electronically. So it is important that the Australian Border Force uses the powers that it has to detect and this will lead to prosecutions of people who are potentially going to put Australian children at harm and may well have already done so in other parts of the world and potentially in Australia, and we cannot allow that to happen.
Karen Andrews, we have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.